start riding, we need to get to know our tack first. So to tack up a horse, you have a bridle. This is a simple snaffle on a headstall. Here is our decorative pad that goes on top of your workout pad. Now you have to make sure that it is at least 3/4 inch thick. It depends on your discipline, so whether you're roping, barrel racing, or doing some other sport. And then you need your saddle. Now when it comes to your saddle, you need to make sure that the saddle fits your horse, and you can have a specialized saddle fitter come out and do that. But in order to do that, you need to check their shoulder area, that it does not cut into their shoulders and it does not pinch their withers. We'll get into that a little bit later. Now, before you get started tacking, you have to make sure that the horse is clean, free of debris and dust. So in order to do that, you need a hard bristled brush. Depending on how much mud there is, you might have to curry before. But you need to clean off all areas, especially where the saddle goes and the pad goes. And you have to keep in mind the girth, which I will talk about later. But you want to get down here underneath and up on top and just make sure that this whole area is clean and free. Now I've already done the other side, but you also do their head. You want to make sure and get the sides and make sure that there is no mud on his face or anything that'll rub, because that can really irritate their skin and prevent you from having a good ride. Okay, now that your horse is clean from the mud, we will go ahead and get started tacking, and we will start with our work pad. Now, again, I said this is a 3/4 inch pad right here. Depending on your workload, like roping when you're pulling a cow, you need to have a thicker pad. Now, he is only a barrel horse, so 3/4 inch thick is perfect for him. It just supports his back and cushions him from me riding, and prevents him from getting pinched by the saddle. Now, if you want to add a decorative pad on top, you can. I have one here. This pad, you want to make sure that it's even on both sides when laid down. And you also want to check it after you put the saddle on. So then comes the saddle. And you don't want to throw it over the horse's back. You want to do more of just laying it over the horse's back so you don't hurt them. You want to make this a pleasant experience. So when you put it up here, you want to make sure you have a straight line behind his shoulder. His shoulder is here. You want to make sure the saddle's in line with his shoulder, so the girth, when I bring it underneath, lines up perfect. Too far back or too far forward can cause the horse to be uncomfortable and buck or rear. So you want to also push your pad up so you have enough room to get your hand in here. Then you go ahead and cinch up the horse. And then cinching up the horse, make sure and keep in mind that line right here next to his shoulder. And in doing this, you want to make sure and not cinch it up all the way, because some horses become girthy and will bloat, so you can't get the saddle very tight on them. So right there is about where I would put that saddle on this horse for now, until we got ready to ride him, because you walk them around and then they loosen up a little bit. So before you get on, you always want to check your girth. So then we'll go to our bridle. And this is a simple process. You have your reins and you have your snaffle bit. The bit goes in their mouth and the headstall holds it up on their head. So what you want to do here is make sure and get the reins over their neck in case they get spooked by something. And you always want to hang the halter up so they cannot get their foot stuck in it, because if they get their foot stuck, they could possibly break their leg. So here, turn him towards the camera here, you want to make sure and put the middle of the bit up next to his mouth and just push it up. If they give you a hard time, you stick your finger in the side of their mouth and they'll open right away. So you want to push this over his ears, over both ears, and you want to be very careful because some horses are very sensitive. You want to put their throat latch on, tighten that up, but not too tight. You almost want to get a whole hand in there. And when fitting a bit you want to make sure that they at least have a wrinkle or two on each side, and that ensures that it's correctly fitted.